some days, where I am traveling, or some days where I don't really feel like eating or don't have enough time to eat. Or I think it's better not to eat today just based on what I have for the day planned. Being able to confidently be like, all right, well, I know I'm going to be totally good until the next time I eat. I know I'm going to be totally good until tomorrow or until 16 hours from now until I get the chance to eat again. What I've really, really found is that, it's not like I have to multiple times a day, like everybody else, which I think puts me at a really big advantage energy wise, but also time wise, and just the amount of work I get done in a day. Like it's massive. I don't have to fall prey to my hunger because I'm already super satiated.
Welcome to the Plant-Free MD podcast with Dr. Anthony Chaffee, where we discuss diet and nutrition and how this affects health and chronic disease, and show you how you can use this to optimize your health and happiness, both mentally and physically.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Plant-Free MD podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Anthony Chaffee, and today I have two very special guests, brothers Zack and Nick Gallagher, who are calling in all the way over from Japan. Thanks for coming in, guys. How are you?
Doing great. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having us on. We've been watching you for over a year now, and it's unreal. So appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on. That's awesome. So, you guys are in Japan for World Championships and of your sport, which we'll talk about. But can you give us a bit of a background on who you guys are and what you do for people who haven't come across you before?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Nick. This is Zack, and we are Kendama players. This is Kendama, Japanese skill toy, 3 cups, a ball, and all connected with a string. It's looking something like this, Japanese skill toy from a couple hundred years ago. And we started 12 years ago back in middle school. And we've been doing it ever since. We turned pro a long time ago. And we've been going to competitions all over the world, in the US, all over Asia, and in Europe as well. It's taken us to many, many places, and we've been able to meet a lot of incredible people through it. We are here again as for the end of this month for the Kendama World Championships at the end of July, representing the U.S. Zack and I have been here every single year since 2016, so very used to it and excited to put on again for America. And it's going to be a great time. But yeah.
We're 24 years old, and as Nick said, we started playing 12 and a half years ago, and something that was just a popular thing to do in school, something that everybody was into. So a fad, it was something that we just ended up getting into just because of that. But little did we know we'd stick with it for the next 12 years and it would change our entire lives. So we're here now in Japan because of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, first of all, I've seen you guys' videos on that. It's absolutely sick, like what you guys can do with that thing. I don't. It's very, very impressive. Obviously, you guys are, competing on the world stage and like world champions in this. So, you guys obviously are going to make it look easy, but it's, well, maybe tell us a bit of background on that. You said it's a Japanese skill toy. This is something that they were giving to kids or adults, or how would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that in Japan, it's pretty prevalent. It's like the Americans yo-yo. Everybody knows what it is in America, yo-yo, and people might do it when they're kids, but it's rare that you see someone take it very seriously. And that's the same thing in Japan as well. It's getting more prevalent, and people, taking it as a sport and making it their own sport. But usually it's just a household item that people have in their, within the schools or in their own homes. They just have sitting around, and, a lot of people think that you can only just do the cups on it and just do this, and that's all there is to it. But then once you explore more, and especially when it came overseas 16 years ago to America, Americans put their own style on it, more of a street style play. And I think Japanese players took a lot of inspiration from that and was like, wow, there's actually a lot of things you can do with this that we haven't explored yet. So it is very simple at first when you're just trying to connect the two pieces to either a cup or the spike, and that's it. But obviously, if you watch some of our videos, there's an endless amount of tricks you can do. And so that's why Zack and I, 12 years in this game and putting more time than most people into it, we still feel like, it's never ending. And so, we're happy to be a part of it and continue to help others right now actually grow in the US. I feel like the competition in Japan is really, really, it's really difficult. It's really, they set a high standard. And I think Zack and I are doing our best part right now as not only pro players, but as mentors and coaches as well right now in our current pursuits and our current jobs that we're trying to raise the level in America as well. So
yeah. And Kendama is a sport that also has worldwide prevalence. You know, Nick mentioned it came overseas to America 16 years ago, but it's been awesome to see the spread of it worldwide. Nick and I were just in Europe for Kendama as well. We're in the Netherlands for the European Kendama Championships, and then people from many countries in Europe came to that event. It's only growing across the entire world, so it's definitely gaining prevalence in the world.
Nice. And then, so in the competitions, what do they have you do? Is it like a set routine, or how is the competition set up?
Yeah, there's a couple different competition styles. The easiest one to explain is it's called open, and you pretty much pull out tricks from a hat. First to 3 points win. I pull out a trick, say I get it, Zach misses, I get a point, and then we go through the trick list. First to 3 points wins. In the finals, it's 5. These tricks are posted online before the competition, so we have time to practice and get our routine all dialed. But then after that, it just comes down to who's the best on that day with the nerves and on stage. And
it places a high emphasis on consistency. So that's one major style competition, but the other one is freestyle, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Say my brother and I are going against each other. I do whatever tricks I want for 45 seconds to a minute. Then my round ends, then he goes, and then we do one more round each. And then there's judges who pick the winner based on difficulty, creativity, consistency, all these things. And it's a one-on-one style bracket till the finals. And that's usually only conducted with pro level players too. Yeah. So
interesting.
Those are the two main.
Yeah, cool. And so you guys recently came across the carnivore diet as well. Is that right?
Yeah, just about a little over a year ago. Yeah.
So how did you come to that, and why do you decide to do something so crazy and give yourself heart disease and cancer, things like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of my friends through a network I'm in, his name is Alex Fresco. He introduced me to the carnivore diet. I came to him just asking for help, and I was thinking, okay, my sleep. I'm living in Japan for 8 months at this point. I'm by myself for the first time in my life. Just got out of university, and trying to figure out how to level up my nutrition, because as for me, I've been training for 4 years. I've been eating this bro diet for 4 years. The classic chicken, rice, broccoli. These things, right? Emphasis on more so of a plant-based when you really look at it in the grand scheme of things, but. So I'm just thinking, how can I get any better than this? If this is peak, then why am I still expecting myself to wake up in the middle of the night, not get good sleep? Why is my skin not where I want it to be? And why am I having these gut issues? Why am I going to the bathroom 3 or 4 times a day? Which, by the way, I thought was normal at the time. But I get introduced to this carnivore all meat diet. Of course, I've heard of it before, but I've never actually heard of someone doing it. And so I think I was just really, really keen on a change. And I had a call with my friend Alex, and he put me, he gave me some guidance on the carnivore diet. And I just said, okay, well, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm not going to wait. I want to try to change what I'm doing to see if I can get a different output. And the first 13 days, I shifted from, I gave up rice and gave up spinach, which, looking back, I think I just ate spinach because I was told that I really just needed a vegetable in my day. Yeah. And so it turned out to be, it was the one thing that was causing me, or one of the main things that was causing me just like all these problems. But I gave that up, gave rice up, and and then I just started hammering down the protein and more so red meat. And first 13 days, I would fluctuate, right? So mostly meat, but then four times throughout those 13 days, I had different, I went out with friends and had, Japanese food, rice, some vegetables here and there. And then I saw, okay, eating meat is good, but then I keep going back. It didn't feel like I was getting all of the benefits. For me, I didn't think I had the right to go back and try these other things yet, because I didn't know what it felt like to stick within the path for so long and, see the benefits of being strict. So I told myself on June 30th of 2023 that, okay, this is it. No more messing around. I'm going strict carnivore, and this is just literally meat, salt, water, nothing else. I still remember messaging you back then about it, and I got encouraged. And so I did that, and I did 100 I think it was about 110 days, full strict, nothing else, just because I was done. I didn't want to give myself any excuses, no what ifs, just want a clean slate.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is something that I, was really excited to test. And man, the first thing, the carnivore did for me was break this whole matrix of what I actually need for what I don't need. It was the first thing that showed me, wow, I've been actually, from my personal experience, lied to my whole life about, what we're taught and what we're supposed to eat. And even how other people look at me as well. There's these people, oh, this isn't normal. What are you doing? And, even from close friends or family at first, and just, giving me a hard time about, why aren't you eating vegetables? You're going to get sick, or, all this meats, it's going to hurt you. It's going to give you this disease. And I'm just thinking, that's so weird. I can't believe this is happening right now. I can't believe I'm being told this. And I would tell them, yeah, no, this is, and this is the best I've ever felt. And granted, I will say that during the first couple of days, first week, 2 weeks, you discuss this on your podcast a lot, your channel, and it's not going to be a super smooth transition for everybody, immediately. And I love this video that you put up about this glass of water, this glass of just not water, but this glass of dirty water. It's brown, and you're pouring clean water into it, and it takes time to filter all the way out. It's not like you can just pour out the dirty water, refill it with clean water right away. It's when you filter it out, it takes time. And that was the same thing for me, with my skin and my sleeping problems and my digestive issues. It wasn't overnight, but just a couple weeks of staying consistent and trusting the process of it, I found out new levels of health that I never thought were possible. And I personally got onto the carnivore diet a month or a little over a month before Zack. And, Zack had come to the World Championships for Kendama last year as well. So we got the link up for that.
Yeah. And what really started me on it was I've always been into health and fitness since February 2019. I can remember the month and almost the day that I started really focusing on these things. And at this point in my life, I'm 4.5 years into training and focusing on my health. And I thought I reached peak function, eating. I was still eating. I actually ended up eating 1.5 pounds of meat per day, but I went through a lot of periods of, going really heavily placing a lot of emphasis on plants when I first started, and then a ton of oatmeal. And slowly but surely got through, kind of evolved my eating habits to this point. And at this point I was eating chicken and rice and eggs and meat. And I was like, a lot of vegetables. And at this point I was like, okay, this is it. I can't get any better than this. Boom. And Nick started a carnivore diet. It was really intriguing to me. It's always been intriguing, but what really actually made me want to do it was, I remember him distinctly one day. He was like, dude, you just don't know how garbage you feel right now. You just don't know how much you feel like trash right now. And I was like, excuse me? I don't feel, I thought about that really hard. I was like, I don't know if I feel bad. And I said, I don't think I feel bad, but that was just the highest level of function, highest level of like goodness that I felt at that point. And when I got back from Japan, seeing him at the World Championships last year, I couldn't wait. I started it just a few days after I got back to Seattle. And that's when I really put full emphasis on carnivore. I did a 31-day challenge for myself. Okay, let me see what this is all about. Let's go fully into it. No, not 1 gram of carbs, not 1 gram of anything else besides meat, butter, and eggs and salt. And let's just see what happens. And that's when I really shifted the paradigm for myself and what I can actually function and not only function on, but really thrive on.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So you guys were eating pretty clean before that. I mean, you were health conscious, you're diet conscious, you were trying to do what, the right balance sort of diet was. And so it's not like you were eating a whole bunch of junk food and garbage or anything like that.
No, it was the classic. I'd say we were pretty conscious of whole foods. And I also will say, I think we were going out for drinks maybe once a month, once every couple months at that. Mm-hmm. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I also feel like what carnivore did for me was really set boundaries between what I need and what I want. Mm. And, it wasn't just, I'm getting eating all this meat and avoiding all these other things. It's more of like, I wasn't waiting for, I can't wait to come back. It was because after you see it, you can't unsee it. It's 30 days of carnivore, and and really setting yourself to the standard, it's like, wow, what can I do if I really keep going each and every day? Does it get better than this? And it does, and it does, and it does. And then you look at all these other things that you used to dabble in, whether it be a dessert every once in a while or alcohol every once in a while. And, for me, it's what I've come to realize is, man, I feel so much better without all that, and without stumbling back into that. It's more of, for me, it's kind of holding myself to a higher level of self-respect. I know people can be okay with drinking from time to time and indulging in these other things, but I've just noticed how good I feel on sticking with just meat and carnivore, and I can't unsee it, like I said. So that's why I've made a lot of content for myself on my pages back several months ago about carnivore. It's because I encourage people to really just kind of experience this level of feeling good for themselves. I don't really know how else to describe it. I just say feeling good is the best way I can describe it. It's something I can only know since I've indulged in the carnivore ways of living. Yeah.
Hey guys, just want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Carnivore Bar. I don't promote many products because honestly, all you need to be healthy is to just eat meat. For those times that you're out hiking, road tripping, or stuck at work and you want a nutritious snack that is just meat, fat, and salt if you want it, the Carnivore Bar is a great option. So I like this product not because it's just pure meat, but also because I want the carnivore market to thrive as well. And the more we support meat-only products, the more meat-only products there will be available in the mainstream. So if this sounds like something you'd like to get behind, check it out using my discount code Anthony to get 10% off, which also applies to subscriptions, giving you 25% off total. All right, thanks guys.
Nice. So how you said that this fixed a lot of your problems, and especially getting rid of the spinach. So what were some of the issues that you were having? You may not even have known you were having.
Yeah. So I will say, before I went on carnivore, I was eating, it got to a point where I was eating, spinach every day for breakfast. And then I was also eating a kilo of rice per day, which it got, nuts. I was eating, because at some point I had all 3 meals of the day, and I was thinking, okay, like this is a lot. I even knew it was a lot, but I didn't know it was particularly bad, So I noticed myself waking up every morning with terrible stomach pain. It felt interesting. I was thinking, okay, I'm break my sleep. I know I would go to sleep thinking, yep, probably not going to get 7 hours of sleep tonight. Going to get woken up 5 hours in, 6 hours in. It's not going to feel good. I'm going to feel weird energy levels throughout the day, always having to rely on 3 meals to get me, shot up for a couple hours, go back down, shot up for a couple hours based on my energy levels. My also something I noticed too was, and we talked about it just a second ago, my digestion, just spending multiple times, on the toilet per day. And that's something that I really, really realized was a huge problem after I got really deep into carnivore, was just how much time I was spending in the bathroom per day. And it was tough. It was 3 to 4 times, and I didn't really enjoy it at all. It didn't feel good, never felt good, but I thought it was normal because it had been like that for years, genuine years. And then I'd say the last thing for me that I'm really glad that was fixed over the long run was my skin. And now on this diet, I thought, okay, I can't get better than this. So I'm having to use skin products, and skin products that, are very, very attractive. They use these 6 different things, and it'll help you with your skin along the way. Wash your face twice a day with these, with a certain brand, and okay, it'll be fine, because clearly my diet's not the problem. I'm already eating, peak. So I have to focus on these skin products, and, lo and behold, it didn't take me that far. I was spending money on these things for a couple of years. And, I really got used to relying on it. So that didn't change at all. And I noticed I'm developing cysts. I think these small under the skin cysts. And if I can remember the name of whatever it was called, because I got told 2 different things by 2 different doctors, one in Japan and one in the United States. I'll have to send it to you to see if you've seen any people heal from this as well. So I'll probably have to send a message later. But anyway, I dealt with looking at my skin every single day, every week, just expecting a new zit to pop up or something to go, break out. And it got to a point where I was just really fed up with that. And I was just really, really sad. It attacked my self-confidence a lot because I knew it wasn't just commercial. It wasn't commercial worthy acne, right? It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It wasn't cystic. It wasn't anything terrible, but it had been there for years and years and years. And I just thought, what is going on? What is causing these things? And it turned out the biggest, it was just a gut problem. It was what I was putting into my body the entire time, what I could control the entire time. So I started relying on these supplements and these face products, and I thought these would take me to the next level. And in reality, right now I don't use any of that stuff. Don't use any face products, don't use any supplements, and all I'm using is just my diet to help me thrive. And it sounds so crazy at first because I came up years and years and years, expecting to rely on something to get me there, to achieve these goals of, clean skin one day or feeling good one day for digestion. And it's a lot of things you can solve just by putting the right stuff in your body. So that's one of the huge realizations I had.
Yeah. And for the skin too, for me as well, you used to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month on skin products. But in reality, once I cut out, and it's funny because I would do that for years. But when I look back at old pictures now, I always see, acne scars on my face. I always see zits or things on my face from all past years when I was doing this. And lo and behold, when I first implemented Carnivore, and kept it consistent, my skin issues went away, and it was really, really incredible. I went from, buying all these face products and skin products to just like not buying them anymore at all, and really switching to just tallow soap, which is just really, really simple and amazing. And I've had the best skin I've ever had in my life. Also with the mood and digestion, I just want to highlight that because that was a really, really massive change for me. Once I started Carnivore, my mood and digestion really correlate with each other, meaning I would have a huge meal with a ton of, in my case, a lot of carbs, a lot of rice, and then my energy I immediately just sink for the next hour and a half. I feel slow. I remember many times when I finished lunch and I just don't want to do anything afterwards, just super slow. And it's really the middle of the day. So I'm like operating at half capacity for the last half of the day. It wasn't really good. I felt just at the half of the potential I could be operating at for most of my days on this. So when I started Carnivore, the mood, the energy levels, I think a lot of people talk about like a ton of high energy with Carnivore. And for me, it was really just what it really was just having the energies consistently just up here, instead of going from like here and then down here in the middle of the day, coming down here. And then maybe at the end of the night, I finally get a little bit back. But it's at the midpoint. Carnivore is usually just, especially once you fully adapt, it's mostly just I was here the entire time, stabilized, which is really, really new for me. I just couldn't really believe it. And then I think that was definitely aided by the digestion too. I used to think I was intolerant to eggs, and as soon as I cut spinach out, I was totally fine. So I used to have beef, eggs, and spinach in the morning, and I just sprint to the bathroom right after. And I was like, I must be eggs because it definitely not spinach. Obviously not spinach. Like that's impossible. Yeah. But as soon as I cut that out, I was like, wow, that was screwing me for years and years. So once the digestion was way more stable, like fluid, and just seamless. I mean, once my poops were just way less frequent, way more comfortable, that's when I really noticed a huge difference too. And I think the energy levels was correlated with that as well. So
nice. Yeah, it couldn't have been the yard waste. That couldn't have been it.
Yeah.
So it's like a bag of leaves, Like you'll weed the garden, and you have this bag of leaves, and then you throw that out, and you go to the grocery store and you just buy a bag of leaves and put it in a bowl and you eat it. It's it's a bit wild. And which is like when people who just haven't studied botany or biology, it's like, well, what are you talking about? Plants have toxins, all this sort of stuff. It's like, all right, well, why do you go to the store then? Why don't you just like pick leaves out of your garden or just eat yard clippings? Like why are you spending money on this? You just go out in the woods and just live on bushes. Like what's
how it is? Yeah,
exactly. So it's very funny that I was taught this as a kid. that you can't just eat random plants, they're poisonous, they're toxic, and then in the same breath, they're like, eat your vegetables. It's like, well, hold on, what happened? What just happened? You just said, don't eat my vegetables. Those are the good ones. Like, oh, okay. All right. And you take their word for it. But then, you find out that it's complete garbage,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you guys have improved your skin, improved your energy levels, obviously improved, not having to go to the bathroom all the time. That's one thing. Yeah. You always see the sort of vegan people or other people saying, oh, you just, need to go to the bathroom or something else. I'm like, you're saying they're convinced that you just cannot go to the bathroom without fiber. And it's hilarious. There's like, no, you need fiber to go to the bathroom. It's just like, no, it's just when you eat fiber, you can't stop going to the bathroom. There's just so much stuff, you just have to keep going, and when you don't eat that, you just actually just go normally. And it's always funny, the things that people trot out like that,
Yeah. And I've had a lot. Yeah. And I've had a lot of people say to me too, it's like, well, in terms of, for instance, like coffee, for example, or in vegetables too, but the fiber in general, people say, I've always said like I've had like a month ago and I actually drank coffee for the first time in a long time. And I've never been a coffee person. Coming from Seattle, it's the main thing, but I've actually never been a coffee person. I really never drink it consistently ever. But I decided to get a shot of espresso because I wanted to get Wi-Fi at this cafe. And I was like, I'll just drink it. And then it just went right through me for the next 10 minutes. And then I posted about that on Instagram. I was like, wow, this really just happened to me. This is insane. This never doesn't happen. And then one of my friends was like, that's the best part about it though. Like that's one of the best parts about coffee. And then I've had the same people say the same thing about eating vegetables. Like this is the best part about these things, that they just make you go. And I'm just like, no, that's not, usually I feel really good when I don't do that, like that's, so I think people are a lot of in misinformation. And I think it's really incredible. It's how once I've experienced this side of things, it's way easier to see how people like the common trail of thought, on this realm too.
Yeah. And I think that it all that stuff is in there, and it's just, sometimes you eat this magical, fiber, and then it pushes that all out. Like, there's something there like behind it, pushing it out. It's all just one thing, and so they think it's, so that is the bulk, so it's not that it's pushing the stuff that's in there out. It's creating things to be in there so that it can go out. It's like, digging a ditch just to fill it back up again, with the same dirt. It's just like, it's just this complete waste of time. So now that you guys, you fix your energy levels, your skin, all these other sorts of things. How are you feeling now? Like what's day to day? Like, how do you, you said, very consistent energy and everything like that. Do you notice a difference between people that you're with, or what are you able to do that other people aren't?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, I want to take it over the past weekend real quick, of what we experienced when we were guests at this island, this small island off the mainland of Japan.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it was a great event for Kendama players, of course. But Zach and I, this is actually the first time. So this is related to the question in a different way. This is the first time we were actually, we were with these people. They're paying for our stay, paying for our food. Very small island, almost nothing there. First time we weren't super strict with what we were eating. It was what was given to us. And, with all these eggs that we bought, all these hard-boiled eggs that we bought at the convenience store before we left on the ferry to the island only lasted us for so long, right? We bought out the store and then they can last us the whole weekend. So unfortunate. So after we ran out of those, we started consuming just classic Japanese food, just small portions of rice, fish, just some vegetables, definitely some sugars and seed oils in there with the sauces. They love to flavor the food, and have that just have their food taste really good. And I noticed immediately my energy levels, and I actually felt bad because sometimes I was just thinking, dang, I'm just really not present right now because I just feel this brain fog taking over. Just genuinely taking over. And I used to think, did I ever have brain fog? Because I always, as I was calling Carnivore, I was thinking, did I ever even have that? I don't even know what that feels like. I didn't have a comparison. But right then and there, I knew. I knew immediately, and it was difficult. It was difficult to go through the weekend as with the high spirits I usually have, having to balance all over the place with the rice and the sugars, the sauces. Obviously, tried to do the best we could, but yeah, it was a different experience for sure, and we just realized the importance of the red meat and what we usually have, because we didn't, the first time I think for both of us that we really strayed off the path for that long, for I think it was 2-3 days. Yeah. And even just then we knew, but usually when we are now, on our normal, Zach and I actually, we've been traveling, since May. So we're on this 3-month travel trip through Europe and Asia, currently in Japan right now, like we said. And I think, something that's really helped us sustain our work ethic and our energy levels here is really, and I want to get your opinion on this, Dr. Chaffee, but really just embracing raw meat. And, we don't always have a place to cook. We don't always have a place to, like store our food and cook and hang out with friends and all these things. We're always on the move with bounce from hotels to Airbnbs and these things like that, depending on where we're going, for a competition or event. And we rely a lot on raw eggs, raw beef. It's been huge for us on this trip, and it's really helped us get up at the same time every day, get up, actually wanting to get up and feel that energy to embrace the day. And I know it feels so, oh, what are I'm like, well, I have that too, like without the meeting, whatnot. No, I'm not. I definitely, no, after seeing the comparison, it's not the same. It's, yeah, Zach and I are just buying these kilos of ground beef and fatty pieces of steak as much as we can in Japan, and relying on these raw eggs. And at first it's like, okay, what is going on? Why are you guys doing that? But it's the easiest way for us to sustain this levels of energy. I mean, we're traveling to different places every single week. Every single week you think you'd get tired and fed up with this. And don't get me wrong, I personally, the one thing I've gotten sick of it, I guess, is planes. But other than that, waking up every single day, attacking the day again and again and again, different, and not with, not in your safe home, not in your safe space of, oh, we're here for I've been here for years and years and years. No, Zach and I are bouncing through new countries every week. It's, it can take a taxing on your body, but I think Zach and I have done so well with the fuel that we're putting within us that it's putting us ahead. I think it's giving us a little advantage over the people we're staying with. And I know it's not a competition, but it's just how it is. Waking up with more energy, waking up earlier, waking up, just with more of a action plan. And I think just with more drive. I don't know if you can say the same, Zach, but just, I guess with the raw meat and the butter, it's literally been so simple as that.
Yeah. I think utilizing, just really realizing, people go and travel these places. I mean, I totally understand wanting to try the cuisine and all the foods, but when you realize that when I realized that I function best on prioritizing meat and really just meat and eggs, it makes traveling like this and the energy levels throughout the day, just the function of the day, so much simpler. Cause it's not like I need to get my grains, I need to get my vegetables, I need to get this, I need to get that. I get everything from these, these foods right here, and I can get everything from meat in general. And utilizing the raw meat has been super, super crucial too. But also to go along with this, and one thing I majorly noticed, going to NAMA competitions and going throughout my day-to-day life and at home, I've really realized the power of being able to be satiated for a super long time. That is one thing that I've noticed almost instantly as soon as I started strict carnivore. And what I mean by that is, I usually ate twice a day, sometimes once a day in the past, and I've done twice a day mostly for the past year. But in some days, where I am traveling, or some days where I don't really feel like eating or don't have enough time to eat, or I think it's better not to eat today, just based on what I have for the day planned. Being able to confidently be like, all right, well, I know I'm going to be totally good until the next time I eat. I know I'm going to be totally good until tomorrow, or until 16 hours from now, until I get the chance to eat again. Whereas I've gone to work many times before and I've seen people eat an entire meal for 2 hours ago, and then 2 hours later, they're like, I'm ravenously hungry, I need to go eat again. I'm super hungry. They say I have to eat right now. It's a lot of I have to eat at this time. I have to eat when I get off. I have to eat before this. What I've really, really found and is that, it's not like I have to multiple times a day, like everybody else, which I think puts me at a really big advantage energy wise, but also time wise, and just the amount of work I get done in a day. Like just, it's massive. I don't have to fall prey to my hunger because I'm already super satiated, and it makes things like, 24-hour fast when people put other like that on a big pedestal, it almost is, it can be a very commonplace. It's like that becomes a normality. Sometimes that can be a normal feeling. It's easy to do something like that. If you have to. And I think that puts me at a big advantage, time wise, just energy wise, not having to think about that like all the time is just huge.
Yeah. I think just coming again, it comes back to not having to rely on so many things. You don't need all the supplements. You don't need all breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You don't need all these things. You don't need to go out with your friends to, feel this energy, feel this way. You don't need alcohol to feel this in line, just being the state of energy. Once you forget all about all that and really, what Zach and I have just said, embracing what we prioritize, going to a new location, getting the meat for the week and coming back. It's like, okay, that's it. And not having to eat 3 times a day, not having to rely on other stimulants. It really puts us ahead. It really saves a lot of time and a lot of thought and a lot of clarity. In many ways, it makes our lives easier.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I've noticed the same thing about getting used to just feeling great all the time. And it's like, did I really feel that bad before? Because you just feel so good. And now you don't have that contrast. Whereas like normally when you feel crappy, eventually that just feels normal. So you're like, oh, I just feel normal today. And this is normal. And I feel better or worse compared to normal. But then when you get off of that, you actually know what good feels like. It's like, I had no idea. That's just absolutely amazing. And so you're seeing that, and you're just like, you're on cloud 9. You're just sort of in this almost at this sort of like glee haze. You're just like, everything's great. And, and then eventually that turns into normal. And then it's just like, you just feel amazing, but that's just normal for you because you always feel amazing. And I get that too, where I'm sort of thinking, I was just like, was it really that bad? What I was doing before. And then something will slip in, I'll go to a restaurant or something like that. And there's some spices or this and the other. You just feel like, you just feel off. It's not like you feel, not like dying and vomiting and, just bleeding out of your eyes or something like that, but you don't feel good. And you see like, actually that's a big drop. And, God forbid you get anything more like, I'd be curious to see like how you guys felt like after like the rice and those sorts of things, because I cannot do that. Like if I got like a little bit of rice or beans, like would mix into my food, like I would be in like actual pain for like 4 days after that, to the point that like, my back hurt so bad I couldn't even get out of bed for like 20 minutes. It was absolutely insane. 4 freaking days for like just a little bit of rice that I tried to scrape off. So how did you guys feel after that?
I would say that I got really, really, I guess, dependent on it. I felt, it's the only thing here, so I have to eat this. And then after consuming, 3 cups of it, or, in Japan, you eat rice with every meal, so you're going to get a lot. I would say that I wasn't waking up the same. I will say, it's not. I didn't have anything too crazy happen, but just I guess the confidence in, my energy, there was a fault there. It was something like, oh, I can't go all day anymore without having to eat. I felt like, oh, I needed that rice, or I'm not gonna be able to put on my best for this performance or the show. It's, I became a lot more reliable. I became a lot more dependent on it.
Oh, reliant.
Reliant on it. I became a lot more reliant, dependent on it. And so, just the energy fluctuation is probably the biggest thing for me. It was only a couple of days, but yeah.
And for me, it was more so, just to give a little background for those people who don't know, the Japanese way of eating is very much it's I was joking about with Nick. It's like, wow, this is literally the opposite of how we eat. It's very, very much high carbs, moderate, low fat, and then definitely low protein. Like that's really what it is. And so after going a day, and I actually had my first day of not eating any meat for
No red meat.
no meat, and no meat in general for like over the past week in my first day in like over a year, which is like I was like, wow, this is actually about to happen. I'm actually not eating meat today. But I noticed after that, I mean, this going back to the kind of like the satiety, right? The satisfaction. I feel like the best part to describe how you feel after you're completely adapted to carnivore, you start eating this way, and the satisfaction you get after a meal is really nice. It's hard to feel like weighed down if you really listen to your body. It's hard to feel weighed down. You really just feeling ready to go right after meal for me at least. Especially if I just eat raw meat. I mean, that's really takes it to another level there. But I noticed after eating the Japanese style way of eating these couple of days, right after I finished a meal, I usually for carnivore, I felt like confident, like, all right, I'm satisfied, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. I'm fueled with the best. I feel super amazing right now. And then after I finished the meal, I'm like, my first thought was, one, that I really just eat food because I just don't really feel like I did anything there for myself that was going to be beneficial. And two, I would leave the meal and I would notice a couple hours in, like, wow, I'm just really not prepared mentally like I usually am. I'm really not full, like have the same energy levels. I could definitely feel it taking a toll on me. And as the days passed, it was more and more to the point where I noticed my mood just drop. Like actually pretty significantly because and the stuff I was saying and stuff I noticed myself talking like with Nick, I noticed myself, I don't know, just become a little more like negative for like 1 to 2 days. And I was like, this is not a normal thing. And it felt so more natural to me to be that. But I just knew it was because the confidence I had with what I was eating, it wasn't high. And I knew that I just wasn't getting the same, I didn't feel as good off of that. So we're all good now. And we're back on regular. We're not out there at the island anymore. We're doing more control of our food. But I definitely noticed that type of like that mood and the energy levels and the satisfaction overall of eating and the confidence how I was going to feel the rest of the day. It was definitely dropped.
Yeah, I also found myself trying to catch a nap every chance I could, every single chance I could. In the car, on the ferry, I was actually so ready to sleep anytime. And I'm never like that. I never take naps. Especially I don't think I took one nap this whole year, eating just meat. I'm not saying naps are bad, but I don't like to be waiting, ready to go to bed any chance I get throughout the day. I'm not trying to do that. It just feels a little groggy, just not feeling, my 100% my best. And I just felt myself really just, can't wait for the ferry, can't wait for the car, just like 20 minutes, anything I can get, just get me more sleep because I was just in a state I was just tired a lot of the time. So didn't feel too great.
I mean, I think for me, just because I'm messing my back so much that that's my big bane thing that jumps out at me. But same thing, you don't feel your best, you feel tired, have like, even if I would have milk, I mean, I have milk, like I get my hands on like some raw milk every now and then, like once a year, something like that. I'll have some of that, but like just one glass and feel fine shortly afterwards. And an hour later I'm passing out on the couch in the middle of the day. And it's like that never happens, and you just get that spike in blood sugar. Now your insulin comes up. Now your blood sugar goes too low. Now you're hypoglycemia, get reactive hypoglycemia, and now suppresses your ketones and you just crash, and at least that's what probably is going on anyway. And, but it just makes you feel rubbish and just tired all the time. So, I think that, you're talking about the raw meat, like if that's your option, it's not a bad option. If you're in a country like Japan and other places that have good, meat safety and very low contamination and things like that, then that's usually pretty fine, especially with like the whole meat. Like if it's hamburger, because the bacteria is going to be on the surface. Now, first of all, there's almost no bacteria on these things generally, but they're very, very carefully checked, and they take samples and send them off, and they grow anything, they'll pull the whole thing back. And so, but just handling is going to get bacteria on the surface and just being out in the air. And, but it'll be on the surface. Now you grind that up into hamburger, and now that's mixing in all the bacteria on the inside, and then that can sort of grow and get a bit crazy if left long enough. But either way, it's not going to have that much at first. And so the traditional convention was that if it was fresh ground, like you ground it sort of that day, yourself or butchered just freshly grounded, it was fairly safe to eat that raw, and otherwise, maybe cook it. But the whole meats definitely, especially if you're not drinking just tons of water around mealtime, you're going to chew that up. A lot of the bacteria are going to be on the surface. There's not going to be that many of them anyway. And then when you swallow that, your stomach acid is just going to scorch them. That's what that's there for. That's what that low pH is there for. And so it's you do run a risk, because there could be contamination. There could have been food handling errors, or someone who had it before you messed around with it. If you had something on your hands, that wouldn't be smart either. So you wash your hands. But the other concern would be like parasites. But the amount of cases of parasites that are found in farmed meat in Western countries is exceedingly low. And in America, I don't even think in America, I believe they haven't found trichinosis in pigs in like 25 years now. So it's they've just kept it out of the population. They've done a really good job doing that. And so wild game, I wouldn't eat that raw. Like even like salmon, you're not supposed to eat just like a fresh caught salmon. Like it has to be still prepared in a certain way to deal with parasites. Just buy a slab of salmon and slice it up like sashimi.
Hey everyone, really happy to announce a new sponsor for the show and for everybody down in Australia, Stockman Steaks, who are delivering high quality grass-fed and finished pasture-raised beef and other meats, flash frozen and vacuum sealed to your door, something that I've been enjoying a lot of myself recently as well. They also have a great range of specialty items such as high-fat keto mince and carnivore beef and organs mince with liver, kidneys, and beef heart as well. So use code Chaffee today for a free order of beef mince or another specialty gift along with your order at stockmansteaks.com.au, and I'll see you over there. Thanks, guys.
One thing I want to say is, I mean, the raw beef, I just want to say, for Nick and myself, we've never, gotten sick off raw beef. Of course, proceed with, whatever caution, their own research and everything. But, that is one thing I want to make clear on this. We definitely consume raw meat like many times in our lives. So for those listening, whoever, I mean, I know it's obviously super, super foreign. It's like probably even crazier than the carnivore diet, right? Like you're, wow, oh my God, I eat raw meat, I'm literally going to die. You're dead for sure, But but Nick and I's experience with raw beef always been good. So
I will say, I've definitely gone a couple weeks at a time just doing raw beef. There are certain week spurts here and there where I'm just thinking, okay, I'm just going to eat raw and see how it is, because I'm just curious. And I think personally, I've never had better digestion than when just eating raw. And that's just raw beef. I've hardly ever eaten raw pork or never eaten raw chicken yet. I'm open to the idea. I definitely like to try it, see how it makes me feel. But raw beef has been great. Usually just consuming steaks and ground beef at that. It's definitely, I noticed though that I don't think I eat naturally as much. I think it's, I'm not sure if cooking it, when you cook meat, when you say you get a pack of 800 grams of meat or a kilo of meat, you cook some of it off, so it's not as much. So it's not like actually the total amount in there. But I noticed that when I just go raw, then I'm not actually eating as much, or it doesn't look like I'm eating as much. Maybe I'm just getting full faster. I'm not sure, but anyway, my digestion is the best it's ever been. But I will say before I was onto red meat, was onto raw red meat, before I got the idea of that's even a possibility, I saw one of your videos about dehydrating meats for taking trips and an air fryer, and man, that changed my life. I seriously, it's first time we did it, I think we went to the World Championships last year for Kendama, and I thought, okay, it's a cross country trip for me. I'm gonna air fry, I don't know, 10, 12 steaks, just pack in my suitcase and just go at it. And such a simple way of traveling and using your food. I mean, I think you have a couple of reels, a couple of YouTube shorts up on there on your channel. And I've watched those so many times just thinking, wow, what if I could do that? And then I went to Costco, bought myself this Instant Pot that could do air frying. And yeah, it was huge turn. So if people are looking for, ways to travel and still keep up the carnivore diet and still be on your stuff, there's raw meat out there, but also there's other options such as air frying and preparation. And so it works extremely well. I just wanted to, give a little shout out there because that was me last year, really being thankful for that video that I saw of yours.
Yeah. Last year when I went to the World Championships, I was eating like rice balls and stuff and all these things. And Nick would pull out, he's like, all right, let's go. Like competition day, pull out his steak. And I'm just like, I wish I was you right now so bad, so it's really awesome. It's good.
Yeah. That was a game changer for like, especially like traveling, you're doing these big international trips, everything's a big international trip from Australia. So it's, it's like minimum 24 hours, like wherever you go. And so, yeah, just slice up thin steaks and dry them out in the food dehydrator, and they were great, and you've got like, you got a roast this big and all of a sudden just, dries down to like, that much worth of little steaks. It's a bit shocking. You're like, oh my God, that's not what I thought it was, but it's, or maybe half of that. And like, but it's good and it lasts. It's very filling. And, I've eaten raw meat. Like I don't have a problem with it. I'm in countries that I trust the meat supply from.
Yeah.
And when I'm cooking my just natural taste, I'll sear the outside, just make it, crispy and bubbly. And then the inside is just dead raw. I mean, sometimes it's still cold. And so, and I prefer that. It just tastes good. And then, or just like, I was cutting up liver the other day. Mm-hmm. I rarely eat liver, but I'm trying, sort of incorporating it a bit every now and then. And I was just sort of cutting it up and I was just looking at it as it was just there like raw. And for some reason, it just looked really appetizing. And so I just like ate a piece of raw liver. I'm like, that's amazing. Like that's the best piece of liver I've ever had in my life. Like cooking is terrible. Like why would we ever do it? It's like, it's the difference between like really good sashimi and canned tuna. It's just, it destroys the fish, when you cook it and it destroys the liver too. And I even like sort of seared it and just left the inside raw. That was too much too. It was just the outside cooked part. It was like, oh God, it really changes it. The texture and the flavor massively changes the flavor. So I ended up just basically eating the rest of that thing raw, over the course of the next like 2 days and way better. Yeah. And, no, it's,
I noticed that, when I freeze liver, I cut it up to the pieces. I don't know if you've ever done that. Maybe that's what you did, but I just put it in the freezer, cut it up into small pieces and take a piece out every day, just eat it. Mm-hmm. I found that way to be a nice way to consume it as well. It tastes practically like nothing. I find it enjoyable. Yeah.
No, mine was like wet raw, like thawed, like cutting up. Yeah, so just straight up raw, and
that's nice.
It actually tasted good. It didn't even taste like, oh, I can deal with it. Like I enjoyed it. Like I wanted it. And then, after you have a few pieces, your body tells you like, yeah, it's probably enough, and just like, it was very nutrient dense. And just like when you're eating steak, you're eating that and it tastes good. And then it tastes less good. And then eventually you're just like, I'm fine. Yeah. You got there a lot quicker with liver, the liver, you had a few pieces and it tasted really good. And then you're just like, I feel fine. And I put the rest in the fridge on the drying racks, just like I dry my steaks. And the thing with liver, when you do that, after a few days, if it's thin enough, it turns into like a gummy candy. And like actually, like after like day 4, 5, depending on how thick it is, 3 if it's really thin, it actually has a consistency of a gummy bear.
Wow, really?
And it's and so like I mean, I had that. I figured that out the first time, and like chewing this stuff, I'm like, oh my God, it's like a meat flavored gummy bear. It's like the best gummy bear there is. And so I had this whole liver just gummied basically. It just sort of dried it out a bit, but not all the way. If it's all the way, then it's all hard and doesn't really taste great. And but when it's just before that, it's still tacky. It's actually like a gummy bear. It's fantastic.
Oh wow, I'll have to try that. Yeah, oh, that's yeah. I like what you said too about your body just knowing. You get that feeling, right? You get more once you go into carnivore. I feel like I think it was Zach and I forgot to mention, getting more in tune of what our body wants and when it's telling us to stop, or when it's telling us it needs more. It's a really, really unique feeling. coming from someone who wasn't carnivore before and is relying on all this rice, these carbohydrates, these things that would make me want to eat or make me feel like I wanted to eat, taking all that out and really actually, understanding when you say on your videos, when it stops tasting as good, when it stops, tasting good even, or, that's the time to stop. And I used to think, what does he mean by that? I don't know. I just don't know what is steak going to taste like? Garbage? I'm not sure, but that's not what you meant. It's just your body's telling you, can feel it. You can literally feel it saying, okay, maybe it's time to stop. It's harder to take the bites. It's harder to, stuff as much down. It's like, okay, that means you're done. Because, and I've experienced, this is why I listen to that, is when I've experienced eating past that, I think, a lot of, it gets to the point where fat is spilling over and the bowel movements start to run. I find myself in the bathroom, going, having a small, episode in there of, and don't get me wrong, it's not painful or anything. It's just more of like a soft liquid consistency coming out. Just because I think I was eating a little more than my body, needed. It's more of like I wanted this more, more steak and all these other things. Maybe it's a little too much fat at that point. Maybe it's a little too much butter at that point. And so that's when I thought, okay, that's actually legit. If I eat more, it's just gonna the excess is gonna come out. Maybe all the stuff that my body doesn't have the room to use right now. It's gonna shift out. And that's when I after a lot of personal experience with that, I just thought, okay, that I totally understand what he's meaning by that now. It's a good connection. Yeah. The body.
Yeah.
You're
saying that like, eating raw meat is like probably as crazy as it gets, you go carnivore and that's like insane. And then you go like raw carnivore and it's like, that's insane for carnivores. But then have you heard of these guys that do, because you're worried about, raw meat, but it could have contamination. Right. Goodness. You heard about these guys that do high meat, that they intentionally let it go bad and let it rot.
Yes,
just covered in bacteria. Like, I mean, it's like everything that you said, like, no, you need to cook it and prepare it and never eat it raw and all that sort of stuff. Everything that they're trying to protect against, these guys are just diving headfirst into. And I've never dabbled in that. I haven't actually, interviewed, spoken to someone directly about that. I've certainly come across people online that do that. And, the ones that do, they swear by it. They say they feel even like, they same thing that, you would have told your brother, like, you wouldn't even know how bad you feel. Like they're saying that about us. Like, you guys don't even know. You have no idea. It's like, it's just next level.
I will say I've eaten spoiled meat once, for periods of days at a time. Cause I bought a huge case of it at Costco and I could just tell it was just, man, it smelled bad. And I knew that it was something was up. And I realized if I cook it, it tastes so bad. But if I ate it raw, then it's tolerable. It's fine. So I was one thing I proved myself there. It's like, okay, not gonna die if I eat this. It's still giving me the energy. It's still good. It's just smell of it's not my preferred smell. But that's the farthest I've gone so far. But yeah, I've definitely heard of people actually doing this on purpose, and it's interesting. I'd personally like to try.
My roommate literally did that.
Oh, did he?
Honest, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I live in a house where the norm is definitely meat based,
nice.
Which is super super awesome. But yeah, that's why you brought that up, because I was like, yeah, my roommate definitely has done that multiple times, and it's like a really amazing experience. I mean,
well.
I mean, definitely takes some mental hurdle to get over. I mean, you're literally looking at me. That's 100%. Like, this is like your instincts. Like, yeah, 100%. This is going to be not good for me, But once you get over that, I mean, sometimes I'm not about to just encourage people to do that on here because I haven't done it myself. But I know people who have done it, like you said, and have experienced a good experience on it.
Yeah. And so he said it was a good experience. Like, he felt even better than he normally did, or some sort of like psychedelic response or something like that. Like what
more so like that. Yeah.
He actually
like he felt high off. Like, I feel like literally high off it. I mean, I have a roommate who literally ate an actual entire chicken raw. So after that, he experienced just effects like psychedelic type effects, and 100%. I've heard that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
wow.
said that one. So yeah, which is incredible. Which is pretty interesting. Yeah,
It is interesting, a bit concerning, like what's going on, like what sort of like neurotoxins are these like bacteria producing that's making you
it's
trip.
like, how is this actually happening? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. Some of the I saw it was like a news clip, and they went to this guy's house, and he was just like, "Look, this is gross. I know it's gross. I'm never gonna get married. Like, no one's ever gonna live with me because my house just reeks." But he's like, "I have to do this because I had such bad autoimmune issues. I had all these issues. This is the only thing. This is the only thing that helps, and I just can't live like that." And he would take this about the fridge. Looked like something out of like a CSI crime show. It was just horrible. It was always just like rotting old plates with like mold fur growing over them. There's like green meat in jars, and you're just like, oh my god. I look like, yeah, this one's almost ready. I'm probably gonna give it a week, and this it was putrid. It was absolutely putrid. And he's taking like these pieces out, and he's outside. And he's like, he eats them outside, like he doesn't even eat them inside, but just that was enough in his house, just reeked. And so he's outside eating this stuff. And I just want to know, like, did you try normal carnivore first? Did you try just like beef and water? Because I got a lot of patients with autoimmune issues, and they do really, really well on just normal ass beef and water.
Yeah.
Like, did you try it? I get it. Like, if that wasn't enough, and it's just, no, it had to be rotting for you to do that. But I do wonder, and I do hope that like you can just try it.
You don't have to live this way if you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, there's some traditional dishes like that though. The Inuit up in like, I know at least in Alaska anyway, they would take fish heads. So they got the fish, eat them, and then they take fish heads and they bury them, and for like 6 months, and just come out and they're just putrid. Probably have maggots and things like that in them. And apparently, like, some people just absolutely love them in that community, and others hate them. I saw this thing years ago, long before carnivore, and it was like his husband and wife. And his wife just loved these things, and he just hated them. He thought it was the most disgusting things ever, and she just reeked afterwards. And so she would like hide these things. There was like this ongoing battle between them, and they were like in their 60s. They've been doing this for years. And so she'd just get all these fish heads and like bury them around the house, and under the house, and in the garden, and all these other sorts of places. And if ever he came across them, he'd just throw them out and just don't get rid of these things. And she'd leave these things for like 6 months, and every now and then she'd have like a bunch of different stashes, and like one of them would slip through, like it would beat the minesweeping, and then she'd just have, she's like, oh great, and she'd eat these things. And he said he'd kick her out. He's like, no, you can't live here for the next 5 days. It'd take it 5 days, he's saying, for it to be like something you could be in the same room. And it was just funny to me. So there's less extreme versions of that as well.
Right.
Which would be like in Norway, they have, I'm pronouncing it right, rotfisk, which is, I think it just sounds for rotten fish. And they just sort of there, it's like lox, almost like smoked salmon, but it's like, it has this gamey sort of rotten taste. So they actually let these things like rot and ferment a bit. And that's what they packed in barrels and would take with them on these long sea voyages, and not get scurvy. And so that was a traditional thing. And the other one, they had like a rotting lamb, something like that. They just have barrels of rotting lamb and fish, slightly, I guess, rotten, because like when I had it, it wasn't horrific or anything. Like, it wasn't like that guy's fridge, but you tell it was a bit off, Right. So I think they're, and raw, it's definitely served raw, and at least the fish was. And the lamb, I don't know if they cook that. I would doubt it though. And that's what they'd use for these big long sea voyages, with the Vikings and things like that, just going around messing things up, just eating a bunch of rotting meat, so maybe that's next level stuff, some Eric the Conqueror sort of things. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that I get to, hearing all that, I mean, just really shows there's levels to this type of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh man. Yeah. I don't think I'd try that fish heads anytime soon.
yeah, me neither.
No.
I prefer like my favorite state is definitely just like the regular carnivore where you cook your meat and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, obviously eating raw if I have to. Like that's one
Yeah.
thing that I prefer that.
Yeah.
I will, but yeah.
Yeah. I think, a couple of times that I've sort of been in that situation where you're just like, okay, well, look, traveling and don't have a way to cook. I'm just going to eat it raw. And I've done that. I'm just fine. It was great.
Yeah.
When I first came to Australia, like, 5.5 years ago, I got this big slab of meat, beef, like ribeye. And I brought it back to the Airbnb when I was looking for a place to stay. And it's the stove was busted. Like it just wasn't working. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Right. So like I could not cook this. I had this whole ribeye loin. I'm like, I can't even eat this damn thing. I'd already like cut up steaks and everything. I'm like, all right, screw it. And I just like cut it up into cubes. And I was using salt back then. I don't really now. And I just salted it and I put it in a dish and just left it for, an hour or two and just let like the salt like soak in. And you couldn't even see it. It was gone after several minutes. And I just started eating it just raw, just eating these chunks raw. It was great. Yeah. Just downing steaks. It was fantastic, So I have no problem doing that as long as you can trust the meat, and I feel fine doing it. I don't know if I feel better or worse, but I haven't done like a whole big stretch of I'm just going to do 2 weeks of raw or anything like that, which might be an interesting experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, cool. So how do you, obviously, if you're just feeling better, having more mental clarity and energy out throughout the day, I'm sure this can affect your game and your performance significantly. But have you noticed any specific benefits and how this or how this affected your playing?
Yeah. Well, for me, I definitely think it has given me an advantage of just the state of my body, the longevity. It can provide not a lot of cramping. With Kendama, you can, you're using your legs a lot, do a lot of miniature squats all day long, and your shoulder, body parts like these, they can get worn out. Actually, when you're playing for a significant period of time, hours on end, 2 to 3 hours on end. But I know a lot of Kendama players deal with lower back pain or their knees or their shoulders. And I think eating this way has definitely put me above. I think, Zach and I both prioritize training, but, we also know that what we're putting in our bodies is equally as important. And so I'm not sure if it's given, if I've seen a huge increase in my hand-eye coordination ability. I think with 12 years in the game, Zach and I are, it's very high, that skill is very heightened at this point, but I'd say just the longer ability to perform at a high level, I think the carnivore diet has helped us immensely with that. Just not getting worn out, not getting as tired, being able, again, to function all day long without having to rely on, this substance or this stimulant or this food or this, that, we can go all day without having to get distracted by any of those things.
Yeah. And a lot of people, the community of Kendama, it's amazing in terms of like the type of people who are in there. All like 99% people are super nice and everything. And, but there's some differences between like the way people eat, the way people treat their bodies. Actually, a lot of people are more so, I've noticed, I guess, plant-based in the Kendama community. The thing for me really, when I started doing carnivore is just, again and again, shows up, is just the amount of time I can just focus on just what I need to do at events. Like just what I need to do, just the playing, the focusing, the practicing. Don't have to think about really like, when's my next meal going to be? When's my next meal going to be? I have to get ready. I have to eat this, or I have to, some people use substances. I mean, usually like people, you see this in day-to-day life, not just Kendama Corp, it's just in day-to-day life. People are like vape or smoke weed or something like this, or drink a lot of coffee to stay on top of what they're doing or whatever. Nick and I definitely don't use any substances, and we operate. I genuinely feel like at an energy level that's some of the highest at these events. and it's very, very consistent. So I think that just it provides me a lot of confidence that I'm going to prepare my body with the best that I can. And it makes me feel like super, super good without any lulls. That's the biggest thing too. It's like, I don't have any lulls like this, like I was describing earlier. It's all just moderately just up here at a higher level and it just stays there, which is something that I think really, really helps my focus as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, so I was going to see, and feel free to say no, but for people that haven't seen Kendama, can you give it like a bit of a demonstration? You guys hear me? Did you cut out?
Yeah,
demonstration.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah.
Awesome. No, we're good. Yeah. Totally. I'll move the camera. Okay. So maybe just show up what like with parts of it again.
So yeah, these are for Kendama. There's 3 cups: big, small, base cup, and a ball, all connected by a string. The main goal is to connect the 2 pieces together. The first couple tricks are just getting them on the cups like this, going between the cups here, and then finally, what you want to do is put it on the spike, connect the 2 pieces. This is the hardest thing to connect both pieces together. Usually, once you get more into it, you can actually hold it by the opposite way, hold the ball, bounce it on these types of tricks here, and go through all the cups as well. And then obviously, of course, it's connected by a string, but you can juggle as well, going through the different cups like so. And then finally, I mean, we're in such a small room, so it's a little tough, but yeah, a lot of string. You play with the string. It's very, there's a lot more than meets the eye of what you can do on this. It's just all wood. Very, very excellent hand-eye coordination tool. I think Zach and I have. Yeah, it's we've tried a couple different things like yo-yo and a couple things along the way, but it's this is something that's we've taken the most interest into, and it's never ending. So
that's really the ball's a hole in it, and he's connecting the.
I mean, even when you call it like
it's
in between the peg and the cup, which is not, it's not even supposed to go there, so it's like like Jesus.
Definitely takes a good amount of balance. I would say, catch it in like here.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's taken a lot. We've done it for a long time. So
yeah, we have to. I mean, that's like like the ball in the cup game. Most people can't even get the ball in the cup. It's just like next level,
it's like ball and cup on steroids for sure.
Exactly.
Way more options, but it's amazing.
It was good.
No, that's badass. Thanks, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much for giving that. Yeah. God, I didn't miss there.
Well, I know, sometimes when you put on the spot there, you're like, oh shit, but
I was like, oh, big movement here.
Yeah. No, that was great.
Well, that was good.
So when is your competition starting? You're sort of in the works. I don't know if it's like how many days or anything like that it goes, but when does it get going?
So it's July 27th and July 28th, the Kendama World Championships for this year. And so, it's a 2-day event, one day for preliminaries and 1 day for finals. Zach and I have made the final every single year we've gone. Zach has qualified every single year. I think you've highest probably in the top 10 a couple of years.
Yes. Highest place, definitely 9th place a couple of years in a row. Yeah. And then Nick's actually won this competition before. He's won the world championships.
Nice.
So he's a world champion. So going back to this event, we've been going to this event since 2016. Had a couple of years there where it wasn't really in operation because of COVID, but every single year we usually go to this event and compete, and been able to stay at the highest level since 2016. So looking forward to it again.
Yeah, it's good. Several hundred people there as well. I think this year there's going to be what's looking like. I think this year there's 700, 800, maybe close to 1,000 at this point. It grows every year, but really just a couple days full of people. The entire country of Japan, practically every single player goes, and then people from all over the world come as well. So it's a nice couple of days to get to bond with everybody, and it's a good time.
Yeah. So like 700 contestants, like competitors, or watching.
Absolutely. So yeah, the people who compete, that's the one thing we can measure is the people that actually compete.
Yeah, right.
The people including that watch, definitely over 1,000. Just the spectators and people's, parents.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can compete in this. Even if you do only just start yesterday, you can still sign up to compete for it. It's open to everyone. But yeah, usually there's about 100, 200 players who have a chance at making the finals and doing, having a real chance at it. So
yeah, they take there's hundreds and hundreds of players, maybe close to 1,000 this year, but they take the top 35 players into the finals. So everybody can compete on day one, but you have to be at a pretty elite level to be on day two for the finals. So yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, guys. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. How can people find you and follow you and see more of your stuff?
Yeah. So you can follow us on Instagram. That's our main social media platform that we use.
Yeah.
My username is Nick Gallagher 42.
My username is just Zack _Gallagher GALLAGHER.
And then if you want to find out a little bit more what we're doing within the Kendama world, we also have another Instagram called Gallagher Kendama. Just other endeavors as well of what we're doing to raise the standards of Kendama there. So that's our main social media platform.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. Yeah, that was fine. Well, that's great. I'll put all those links in the description. People can follow you there, and I encourage people to do that. I've been watching your guys' videos, and it's just absolutely crazy. Like it looks like it's like sometimes when you're like flipping around, where it's like stuck on the edge. I'm like, is that like glued together, and it's just like screwing with us, and just like flipping it around. It's just like some of that was pretty well. It was all very impressive. So a lot of cool videos on there as well if people are interested. So, and I'll put those links down below. And really good luck. Wish you both the best of luck in the competition. I'm sure you'll do great.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chaffee. Thank you so much.
It's
an honor.
Yeah. And thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. Please do hit the like and leave a comment. Let us know what you think, and please share this with anyone you think would enjoy it. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you very much for taking the time out to listen to what I had to say. If you like it, then please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and podcast. And if you're on YouTube, then please hit that little bell and subscribe, and that'll let you know anytime I have a new video out, which should be every week, if not more. And if you could share this with your friends, that would help me get the word out and let me know that you like what I'm doing. Thanks again, guys.